This story begins on the tracks of a train where we meet our protagonist, a university student named Le, who keeps watching a certain purple-haired girl named Shernai. For the moment, our protagonist does not know her name. Later, she will mention it to him. Le tells us that he always sees this girl on the train tracks. Like every day at this time, he always finds her here several times, with different styles of clothing, and as usual, she and he take the train at this time of midnight. The meeting of both on these tracks is like a routine. A few minutes pass, and our protagonist does not exchange a single word with her. Seeing the instrument that she carries with her, he wonders if that girl studies music or maybe she is in a band. The girl instantly realizes that he is watching her. They both make eye contact. He was so lost in his thoughts that he kept staring at her. Although they both often meet here, he is the only one aware of it. He knows that things like these are just coincidence. It is not destiny. Since he cannot concentrate on his reading, he hears some music. Maybe he will hear his favorite music, Darker Planet by Long Afternoon. When he starts listening to it, the introduction of the song is the best. No matter how many times I've heard it, the first verse is also too good. Despite being a great song, almost no one knows it. I wish I had someone to talk to about this song every afternoon, but it's strange. It sounds too low. Surely, the Bluetooth headphones have been damaged. He begins to turn up the volume to the maximum level. At that moment, Shernai interrupts him. This surprises our protagonist. He asks her what's wrong. She asks him to lower the volume of his phone since she can hear everything from her bench. Instantly, the protagonist realizes that his headphones were disconnected from his phone and that he bought them recently. Having heard that music, she asks the protagonist if he likes that song. She also likes the band Long Afternoon. Le, upon hearing this, gets excited to know that this girl also likes the same band that he listens to. It was simply great since he is a big fan of the author of the song. He can't believe he has found someone with the same tastes. She also assumes the same. The music is really good. Unfortunately, the singer is independent, without too many fans. He also knows that surely it doesn't fit in with the current trend of not promoting and communicating too much on social media. The protagonist confirms the same. If only the singer did a concert, videos would be made, and it would be spread everywhere. But he doesn't do any of that. He only has drawings of his original character, Yukin, on Instagram. If posting photos of his daily life or his face would attract more fans, Shernai listens to this and asks him if he really thinks it's right for the singer to show her face. The protagonist answers no, not necessarily. Being a fan of the singer, he would like to meet him in person and is curious to know what he's like. But it's also good just seeing how he lives the way he likes. It's good that the singer concentrates on creating and not doing anything else. The mystery he has is not bad at all. Of course, he likes the singer as she is. Shernai mentions that they have been meeting several times in this place. It's not like that. The protagonist, somewhat nervous, answers that he is not very sure. He should pretend that he has not seen her before, or otherwise, she will know that he has been watching her. The train arrives at the tracks. Shernai tells him that she has seen him before since she was always staring at him. She is right. These words were like gunshots to the chest of the protagonist. It is impossible. She knows that he has been seeing her all this time, and even that both have taken the same train. The next day, he gets hysterical at work. He feels condemned. His 39-year-old boss, named Oyu, asks him what happened. Did they get a low rating as a business? The protagonist asks his boss for advice. What would happen if they took him as a stalker or a pervert? The boss does not understand what all this is about. A few minutes later, she understands the situation of our protagonist. She answers that it is nothing. It only means that the girl also knew about the existence of our protagonist. Le mentions that he is worried about seeing her scared. If she thinks that he is a pervert, surely she will not continue going to the same station. The boss tells him that if that happened, that girl would have already done it a long time ago. If he is too worried, he should talk to that girl appropriately next time. Then our protagonist will know exactly how she feels. Who knows? Maybe there could even be a romance between both. For the protagonist, that would be going too far. The boss asks him why not. He has already seen her several times. There would be nothing wrong if it were to happen. That is true, but the kind of feelings that his boss is talking about are not the ones that our protagonist has had. Not even he is in the position that someone likes him. He is busy with next year's graduation. He is preparing to work and needs to earn money for rent. He was just curious about that girl since he had seen her often. He wants to ask her why she is going home or what she does. The boss mentions that usually, romance starts that way. The protagonist answers that it is not like that. He would feel satisfied if they could only be friends, a friend with whom he can talk about his musical tastes and other things. The boss repeats it to him again, as she had told him before. That is how relationships begin. The protagonist tells him that that is not true. The boss tells him that they have already talked enough. They have to get to work. There was an order to deliver, and they stay working until midnight. When they finish work, the protagonist wonders if that girl will take the last train as usual. If he sees her today, he apologizes to her for having seen her behind her back. He wants to clarify things so that she doesn't think that he is a weirdo, and he also wants to have an intense talk about Long Afternoon with her. It is difficult to find someone who has the same musical tastes as him. He only waits for her to think the same way. But when he gets to the train stops, he finds a homeless man sleeping on the seat. He finds it annoying since that is the seat where he always sits. Now, he won't be able to be close to her to be able to start a casual conversation since it is inevitable. Just for today, he will study standing up. It is strange to force a conversation. After all, he doesn't want to cause misunderstandings, but he doesn't want to get away from her either. Just for today, he will pass by without saying anything. At that moment, she asks him if he will stay standing to wait for the train. There is still time for the train to arrive. Our protagonist answers that there are no more seats. She mentions that that is not true. There is a space next to him. He can sit freely without problems. Only until the last train arrives. The protagonist thinks about it for a moment. He remembers that a long time ago that girl also did the same thing so that both of them could become closer. It brings him a bad feeling, but that's already a thing of the past. Right now, it's the present. Anyway, he's just going to sit for a while, and he'll leave when the train comes. The distance between them should be fine. She asks the protagonist if he is always going to be late getting home. According to what she saw, he usually takes the train at this time. Lejun tells her that he works the night shift at a coffee shop. The boss lets him leave early, but sometimes he finishes late. She gets a little interested in our protagonist's part-time job. She asks him if he goes to university. He answers yes, he's in his 4th year. It seems that he's a very busy person preparing job applications. It must be difficult to work late and study at the same time. The protagonist asks her if she also usually works late every day. Shernai answers no. She likes to talk to guys with peculiar tastes before going home. He soon gets surprised hearing peculiar tastes. She mentions to him that people with unique preferences and hardcore takes care of some clients like that before going home. Lejun wonders if she's referring to the dark side of that job. She lets out a small smile and mentions that she's referring to the music. She works in a studio with rehearsal and recording rooms. Many office bands book it late at night, and she, as the studio manager, works late and sometimes stays up all night. The protagonist, understanding that she was referring to a music studio, sees for a moment that she asks him if he was thinking about something strange. He snaps, answering not at all. Shernai asks him if he wasn't thinking about something strange just because he said hard since she was referring to the musical genre. The protagonist answers that it's not what it seems. He wasn't thinking about anything strange. This girl is totally messing with the protagonist, leading him to a half-deviant conversation. It must have seemed easy for her to do so. Shernai asks him how he found out about the Long Afternoon band, since our protagonist seems pretty busy with work and studying. He doesn't seem to have much time to explore new music. Lejun begins to remember that time he discovered it. It was more of a coincidence. One day, he was dying from the flu and was in bed. Since he lives alone, no one was there to take care of him, so he just stayed lying down in the house. He felt too quiet, so he felt pretty lonely. He thought that putting on some music would help cheer him up, and he searched for something random. It was right there where he came across that band, Dark Planet. At first, he just thought that the melody was good, but the more he listened to it, the more things he was totally falling in love with the song, especially the lyrics that seemed to take everything with lines like "Let it be," which in Spanish means "let it be." He asked the girl what her favorite song from Long Afternoon is. Although the singer doesn't have too many songs, at least one should like her. She answers that she also likes Dark Planet. The song Deal Flow is also good. Upon hearing this, he mentions that that song is fantastic, especially the part where the rhythm changes after the chorus. The singer seems to be brilliant using electronic instruments. She answers that that is true. The train arrives at the tracks. It seems that they are already a little late. What she said a while ago about "Let It Be," maybe if the singer had heard something like that, she would be happy. The protagonist turns red thinking that that could happen. He would like to talk to her a little more. It's not about a date or being closer. He just wishes to continue speaking of things they both like. The main character introduces himself to her as Lejun. She wants to know his name. She also introduces herself as Shernai. Now that she knows his name, she wants him to make sure to say hello to her the next time they see each other. If he doesn't, she will ignore him. The main character says that he hopes to see her again soon. Later, at Shernai's apartment, she finishes taking her bath. She sits on the bed and recalls a memory with that boy from the train. A long time ago, while she was taking the train, she noticed the wallet that the man in the green jacket had dropped. If the wallet was left there, it could be stolen from him. The main character took it to put it in the man's pocket and then sat down. He could have just left it nearby, but he put it in his pocket. If something went wrong, he could have been mistaken for a pickpocket. She's quite naive, but that doesn't take away from the fact that a good person like him doesn't think too much before showing his kindness. She knew that our main character was kind, but she didn't expect him to be a fan of Long Afternoon, especially. She didn't expect him to be the passionate fan type. She starts to think a little. She wonders if he would still like the band if he knew that she is the singer, or maybe she is the same as those girls who hurt her in her past. It is a deep wound that she cannot forget, and just remembering this scared her and upset her at the same time. She is thinking again about something that she does not want to remember. It is very annoying. Whatever. The people who like her music simply like it because it is music. That does not mean that she likes them. She does not have to reveal that she is the singer. As long as she continues making good music, it does not matter if Yukin, the cartoon of her profile, steals the cameras. It is fine if she just continues being herself. As long as she can continue doing what she loves, everything is fine. The next day, we are in Shernai's music studio. She is drawing the new image of her character to upload it on her Insta. At that moment, some boys finish their shift in the music room. Shernai asks them if they left the room empty. They answer yes. The boy with the guitar wanted to make a reservation for next week at the same time. But besides that, he wanted to have her number or her Insta user to send him a message. She, thinking about it a bit, apologizes to the guy. He ended up looking ridiculous after having done that. She mentions that it's time to clean. She enters the music room and starts vacuuming the floor. Shernai's uncle arrives at that moment. He had a rehearsal today. His name is Shin Han Zng. He is the studio manager and he is a sound engineer, but apart from that, he asks her why she rejected that boy who asked for her number. Shernai asks him not to watch her secretly. The uncle tells her that he wasn't spying on her, he just saw him by accident. But going back to the main thing, why didn't she give him her number? Did she not find him attractive? She answers that she doesn't like to talk on the phone. She can't wait for his face if it's a message or a call. And what is more important, she doesn't like the style of that boy's band. But by the way, there is something important that she has to tell him. The recording reservation at 10 p.m. was canceled, so he can clean this up and go home. For today, he will take care of the rest himself. It is already 8 p.m. That is great. Today he will be able to work on new songs at home. But before he leaves, his uncle gives him a gift. Today is Valentine's Day, and since his uncle is considerate, he bought this for him. On the way here, he should eat it with coffee while he works on his songs. People were going crazy over this sweet a while ago. Shernai wants to ask her uncle for something. She wants to play the guitar a little before he leaves. His uncle had no problem with it. On the other hand, in the cafeteria, the main character tells his boss that he is leaving. He should be careful when he gets home and have a good romantic trip back home. The main character continues denying that that won't happen. He reaches the train stop and takes a seat. He was supposed to improve his language grades on vacation, but he is still struggling with it. At that moment, Shernai appears on the scene. They both greet each other, but there is something that our main character comes to notice. She is carrying a gift with her. Shernai tells him that she got this for Valentine's Day. In a few words, they gave her a gift. Surely, Shernai must be popular. She is attractive and has style. She must have a lot of cool people around her and must receive a lot of gifts all the time. Of course, our main character thinks she shouldn't worry about that, and it's not that they both know each other well enough to say anything about it. She realizes that the main character is studying pretty hard, and so that he can regain energy, she tells him to eat this. Sweet things are good when you need to think. He asks her why she gave it to her. Hadn't someone else given it to her? Shernai mentions that he doesn't like sweets. If he takes it to his house, he would only end up throwing it away. That's why he wants her to take it. But even if yes, he refused since it was too much to give her a gift that another boy gave her. She sees it as unethical. Upon hearing this, she mentions that she received a gift from her uncle. What was she thinking? Did she think that another boy had given it to her? Now she is disappointed. The main character comes to understand the misunderstanding, diverts the conversation, and takes the gift. He asks her if there are chocolates, and she tells him that she hasn't tried them yet, so she doesn't know. But the candy is handmade. He heard that they are popular these days. He wants her to eat them when she takes a break after studying since she won't be able to think without sugar. He had never seen handmade candies. She tells Shernai that if his uncle gave them to him, he should try at least one. The protagonist is right. He has to tell his uncle what he thinks tomorrow about the taste of the candy, or he might be disappointed. Then he asks Lejun to give him one. She opens her mouth. Our protagonist asks her if she wants him to put it in her mouth. She answers yes. She was tuning the guitar. Her hands are greasy. It is better if she doesn't use them now. She wants him to put it on her tongue and suck it herself. But she could take it home. She asks him to just put it in her mouth, and our protagonist has no choice but to do so. She brings her mouth closer and takes the candy. At that moment, she chokes on the candy. It tastes too cloying. She tells the protagonist to foresee one for him to check, and when tasting the candy, she mentions that it tastes too sweet. Even her head hurts when she tried it. She should definitely eat it with coffee or bitter tea, otherwise, it will not have a balanced flavor. She is right, it is too sweet. He asks her if she wants another one. She answers that with just one, it was enough. The next day, at Lee Jun's apartment, he was still asleep. At that moment, his alarm goes off. It feels like he's only slept 30 minutes, but it is already morning. He wonders what he'll eat today, and remembering the candies that Shernai gave him, maybe he can try some by eating just one. The candy was so sweet that it woke up his sleeping brain. It worked quite well. Now, he can start his day perfectly. At that moment, he receives a notification on his phone. Long Afternoon has published a post on his Insta. Already at night, Lejun is in charge of serving his clients at work with great enthusiasm and energy. His boss sees him quite lively today. She asks him if something good happened to him. He answers that his favorite musician updated his Instagram. Finally, she posted something after years. Taking into account his career until now, he could release a new song soon. He wonders what kind of song it will be this time. Just imagining it excites him quite a bit. The boss, knowing what it was, that's why he thought something romantic had happened. The protagonist doesn't understand what he means. His boss thought that he had progressed with the girl he met on the train. The protagonist answers that not at all. It's not as if he liked her or something. But still, if they both see each other often, at least he should get closer to her. The main character answers that none of that will happen. Besides, he hasn't even seen her the last few days. But now that he thought about it, they have both gotten a little closer to each other recently, and they already know each other's names. He also gave her candy on Valentine's Day. The boss hears this and gets excited. He asks our main character to tell him how it all happened. He wants him to describe all the details. The boss is already making a half-exaggerated scene in her head. And what happened next? He invited her out as a thank you, or maybe to get a drink. He answers that he wouldn't disappoint the boss. That's boring. If he had gone further, it could have become a story that he would use as an anecdote tonight. The main character says that his personal life can't be an anecdote for the boss. But what would be the problem? If she wants, she can share an interesting story. The main character doesn't want to listen to it at that moment. Someone asks him for an order. This person wants a cappuccino, if possible to take it to us. The protagonist takes his order, and the boy takes a seat and feels like he's seen that person somewhere else. He wonders who his boss is. He asks him what's wrong. The doorman tells him that the customer looked familiar. The boss mentions that that person is Sun Hyunjae, 28 years old. His real name is River Zung. He's an independent singer and songwriter. The protagonist is shocked to know this. What is such an important person like him doing in this place? The boss mentions that he's one of the customers who regularly comes to this cafe. He's been coming to this place for a while. At first, the boss didn't know who he was, but one of her customers told her. Now the protagonist understands why he was so familiar. The most attractive musician these days is a frequent customer of this cafe. That's great. After that, Hyunjae gets into his car and checks his phone. He's interested in the Long Afternoon band. He writes interesting songs. His style is unique, and he likes his mysterious image. He would send him a direct message so that they could both schedule a meeting and collaborate. Together, on the other hand, the protagonist finishes his work schedule. He hopes to meet SHII, since he wants to talk about all the clues he found regarding the image of the new publication of Long Afternoon. Being able to talk about what he likes is the best feeling in the world. When he gets to the tracks, he doesn't find her in her seat. He hasn't seen her since the day of love and friendship. Surely she's busy, or maybe her work schedule has changed, or maybe she's avoiding him. Maybe it's because of the attraction he had when he received the gift, but he's just thinking maybe he had great hopes for nothing. At that moment, Shernai asks him what has him so disappointed. Her presence leaves the protagonist surprised. It's been a while. He thought he wouldn't see her today either. Shernai asks him if that's the reason he was so disappointed. Perhaps he was disappointed at not being able to see her. The protagonist answers something like that. Today there's something different about her. Maybe it's because our protagonist asks her if she's drunk. She answers yes. She went to drink at a bar alone before getting to the tracks. She recently finished something she was working on, so she just wanted to celebrate it a little. The pruta that seemed great to him. He asks her what she was working on. She answers yes, that's a secret. Those words surprise him. It's more tender when she smiles like that. Her drum version he liked. She's really beautiful, but it's not the time to think about that. He must concentrate and change the subject. He asked Shernai if she saw the new post that he published in the afternoon. He was going to tell her more, but the train was arriving. It was quite early. He didn't even have time to say half of the things he wanted to talk about. And now they both will have to postpone the conversation for another time. He doesn't know what to do now. He wanted to talk to her so much. At that moment, he thinks he's waiting too long. The enthusiasm will fade, and he will have nothing left to say. He has to say what he wants to do with her today. Shernai asks her if she wants to have some drinks with him. This proposal was somewhat sudden since right now it's somewhat late. Our protagonist, thinking about it a little, realizes that his words could be misunderstood. This will make him seem like some Tino who invites anyone on the street. He instantly apologizes to Shernai, and she ends up accepting his proposal. For some reason, he doesn't want this conversation to end here. They will both have some drinks just for a little longer. They take the train and both sit together. Each time the subway shakes, his shoulder bumps into hers. He's getting too excited. Maybe it's because it's been a long time since he had a few drinks with someone. Shernai asks our protagonist where she lives. He answers that near Namdong Station. So she wants them both to go drink around that place. The protagonist asks him how to get home after drinking. She answers that she'll take a taxi and she can drive it on her own since she's an adult after all. The protagonist is sure he was going to pay her the taxi fare later. She answers that it's not necessary. In the end, our protagonist will end up paying for the drinks, but if she gets really drunk, he'll have to take care of her. He tells her that when she's drunk, she ends up sleeping naked. This makes him somewhat nervous, but he ends up just making a joke. They both get off the train. She asks him if this is the neighborhood where he lives. He answers yes, his apartment is 5 minutes from the station. They both had a few drinks near the station. He knows a pretty good place. She'll leave everything to him. But when they arrive, the place is closed. It's been a long time since she came to this one place. They find another place for both of them to drink. As he doesn't go out to drink often, he doesn't know any places with a bar. He doesn't want to ruin this little outing. At the moment, Shernai notices this and comes up with no idea since it's too late. The only place where both of them could go to drink would be at our protagonist's house. That won't happen in any way. But in the end, they end up arriving at the apartment. It's pretty clean. Last week she cleaned her room. If she hadn't done that, he would have seen her room a mess. She has something to ask him. Does our main character have a girlfriend? What is the reason for the question? It's just that it would be careless if it caused any misunderstanding in his house. She doesn't want to be seen as his lover. The main character answers her that he doesn't have a girlfriend. He's single. That's for the best. Then they can both live right now. Lee Jun asks Shernai if she's not dating someone. She answers that she has someone. His name is Liam, a foreigner who always has sharp words. He's good at singing and fighting. Then it should be wrong for both of them to drink in her apartment, is what the main character says. She tells him that she was just joking. That person called Liam is the main vocalist of the band Wasis. She thought that our protagonist knew enough about music to understand the joke, but since he didn't, she ends up apologizing. This scares the protagonist. He was worried that he might accidentally hurt someone's feelings. So they both will toast tonight. No one will come out the ride. The protagonist asks her again if she really doesn't have a boyfriend. She answers no, she doesn't. After a few plates, Lewin tells Shernai about the clues left by her favorite singer's new post. According to her analysis, she supposes that the new song of Long Afternoon will come out in April, and he might use an instrument like the LOL or maybe a guitar. However, she herself knows that she didn't want to put that meaning in the image. The protagonist was going crazy with excitement. He asks Shernai if she was excited too. She answers yes. She already finished recording the song, but she didn't plan on releasing it in April. She wonders if she should hurry up and sign the distribution contract now. But leaving that subject aside, the protagonist tells her that Shernai's voice sounds like Lewin Aston's, a slightly hoarse voice as if there was a little fog, and the soft tone that feels similar. But of course, Afternoon's voice is cooler. Shernai mentions that our protagonist really likes Afternoon. He didn't expect that to be all he was going to talk about tonight. The protagonist asks her if she was bored. She answers that she's having fun. It's better than having strange feelings and talking seriously. She can feel free to keep talking. He sits on the bed and tells her to just lie down while listening to him. The protagonist answers that if she lies down, she will fall asleep while listening to him. Shernai doesn't think there's a problem with that. She will listen to him and fall asleep. He asks Lejun if she can stay at his house. He thinks about it for a moment and asks her if she's serious. She asks him if it's not okay for her to stay. The protagonist tells her not to joke with him like that. She approaches him and tells him that it will depend on him. If he wants her to stay, then she will stay. Then what should she do? The protagonist gets nervous, and after thinking about it for a moment, gives her permission to stay since he still wants to keep talking to her. That's good. Then she unbuttons her pants. The main character asks her why she is taking off her pants, and she answers that she was just unbuttoning them since she drank beer. She doesn't want her stomach to swell. The main character understands, but the best option would be to change clothes. He will lend her some sports clothes that he has washed. The beer she already drank was the last can. If she wants more, our main character can go buy some. She agrees, so while he goes to the store, she is changing. If there is something she needs, like a brush or something, she wants him to tell her. She answers that she has hers in her bag, but there is something that she does want him to buy for her. She is on her period, and she did not bring that. She will pay him later. She goes to TI and starts choosing. She had to buy some pads for Shernai. She never bought one of these, so she doesn't know which one is which. Anyway, she will only buy one. Already in one of the products, she sees some contraceptives. Maybe that is what Shernai sent him to buy. Maybe he has gone crazy. It would be a lie to say that he is not thinking about having intimate relations with her. Shernai is very attractive and a very good person, and that is the reason why he should keep calm. He shouldn't mess things up so hastily. He doesn't want to be rejected like last time, and that's because his feelings were too strong. Just seeing Shernai taking the last train makes him happy. If Shernai takes the initiative that night, maybe he'll buy it. There was no reason to refuse. He is just imagining it. He can't get up anymore. He goes back to his apartment, enters the room, and realizes that Shernai had fallen asleep. She seems quite relaxed, but she asks him to wake her up for a second and goes to cover her with a sheet since if not, she would get the flu. She takes him by the neck. The protagonist asks him to wait a second and she laughs, telling him that he is very handsome. He is completely her type. This makes him completely nervous, and at that moment, she falls asleep. She was talking in her sleep. The cover with the sheets almost falls on her. His breath was close to her face. She almost loses her mind. She barely got over it. She falls asleep on the couch. If she had hugged him, he would not have been able to push her away, even though they are both drunk. The protagonist's feelings were intense, and he can't stop them. The next morning, he wakes up, his head hurts. He wonders where Shernai is. Surely she is in the bathroom. He notices something. There was a note that Shernai left. As she saw him sleeping deeply, she did not want to wake him up, and she left first to use what she bought for him for another occasion. She also gave it to him later. She even picked up the beer cans that she bought at the store, but not only were there some beer cans in the bag that the protagonist bought, but she had also bought the condoms. He does not remember having bought them, but that night she thought that she probably would need them. Well, she bought them because if something happens, she will need to be prepared. Now that she thought about it, she regrets it. Surely Shernai will have seen it. Now she will think that the protagonist is a pervert. Maybe she thinks that he wanted an adventure with her only for one night, and when night comes, the protagonist takes the train. He meets Shernai, sees this, and smiles at her. She also greets him. There is something that both of them have to talk about. The protagonist takes a seat. He does not know what he should do. He wants to invent something to get out of this embarrassing situation. He imagines a situation in which he tells her that he bought her condoms for a school assignment about a sex ed report for high school students. Or maybe to tell him that she bought them by accident while she was shopping for some vitamins. She knows that won't work. That would be pathetic. It's also mean. It's better to be honest about what she was thinking. At that moment, she was going to tell him, but then she stops him. She wants to tell him something first. The main character agrees. She has been thinking about it for a while, and that is that she plans to keep some distance from the main character. He asks her why. She realizes that she doesn't feel any tension when she is next to him, especially the last time. She knows that she was drunk, but still. Maybe it's because when she was younger, she used to go out with her uncle's bandmates, talking a lot about music. She thinks that she played with our main character without much caution and without realizing it. She crossed the line, so for now, she needs to put some distance between them. He asks her if this is because of the condoms that she bought that day. She laughs when she hears this. She answers that she wasn't bothered at all, considering the atmosphere of that day. This kind of thing can happen sometimes at parties, but she didn't expect that our protagonist would consider a one-night stand. He apologizes. He didn't plan on having a one-night stand after drinking. She understands perfectly, but that wasn't a big deal. There's something else. The protagonist asks her what Shernai means. He tells her that she's just unbearable. What does she mean? That night, the things she did. Entering someone's apartment uninvited because she wanted to borrow clothes, shamelessly sleeping in the bed while the host had to sleep on the couch. Every single thing she did was hateful and unbearable. Now she understands. She was so excited to be drunk that she didn't even realize. But when she woke up, she really felt bad. That's why she left without even saying goodbye and apologizes for that. For the protagonist, that was surprising. Shernai has always been cool and self-confident, as if she didn't care what others thought of her. But now, seeing her regretful, feeling ashamed and apologizing for something like that is so unexpected. That side of her is adorable. He tries to contain his laughter, but either way, he wants to keep a certain distance because of those rude things he did. If she stays close to him, it could be something similar again. He might not come to this station for a while. For the protagonist, that's not okay. He gets too close to her. She asks him, why wouldn't it be okay? The protagonist tells him that Long Afternoon will release a new song soon. He wants to talk about it, especially with her. But if she stays close to him, she might do something stupid again. It could be something even worse. For the protagonist, it's okay. He'll be able to handle her behavior. He'll handle Shernai's naughty and wild jokes. It's because of him that he asks her not to ever stray from him. The next train is about to arrive, so next time she'll buy the snacks. When she gets back home, they'll both drink together again. That sounds good. The protagonist tells her to save what she bought last time until then. She might need it soon. The protagonist, remembering, wonders if she means the condoms he bought last time. She tells him that she means the beer. Of course, she doesn't want him to get a bad idea. Shernai arrives at her apartment. She takes off her jacket. It's a relief that the protagonist didn't get upset. She was worried that he would hate her. He accepted her way of being and forgave her. But the memories of that night will not disappear. He does not know why she acted like that. She must have seemed like a pervert. If she had not fallen asleep that night, maybe both of them would have done that kind of thing. She is already imagining it, but thinking about that makes her blush. It is something silly to think about right now. She must compose the melody that she made in the practice room on her phone. She receives a direct message from a person. She wonders if it is really the official account. That person who wrote to her is Sunjae. He wants to propose a collaboration together. The next day, she is playing the guitar with her favorite pa. She finishes playing and starts to think about the message that Hyunjae left her about doing a collaboration. It sounds fun. Someone knocks on the door. It is Shernai's uncle. He questions if she has finished practicing. She answers that she is about to finish. Her uncle asks her if she wants to eat some Uncle Kaboki ultra spicy. Shernai answers yes, and they start eating the dishes. She continues thinking if she should collaborate with Hyunji or not. Her uncle asks her what she is thinking. This one tells him what happened yesterday. Her uncle tells her that this collaboration would be a great opportunity. She answers that she feels hesitant to accept. Her uncle asks her if the singer made any unreasonable demands. She answers that he doesn't. It's just that if they both do a collaboration, she'll eventually be in the spotlight. She's worried that her face will be known. Her uncle wants to encourage her to continue with the project, but because of the pain she suffered as a young woman, the scars still remain on her. He's not sure if she's still hurt, but he just hopes that she can get over that hurt quickly and make her way. She's quite a talented artist. How about if they both get together and talk? It's much better than thinking about it every moment. So she'll know what the best decision is. Even if they don't collaborate, they could get closer through this opportunity. It can also help advertise the music studio. After work, she starts to think about it. She sees an advertisement and wonders how celebrities handle the artists they love. How much courage does it take to overcome pressure? When she gets to the tracks, she meets our protagonist. Smiling, he asks her what she's doing. She answers that she's preparing for her employment program. She needs to practice her expression. Her natural smile will make a good impression. She wants to check the fetal. She is surprised by the amount of attention it takes to do the interview. Those are just the basics. There are many more things she has to present, and it is so annoying. Then Shernai asks him to try something. She will be the interviewer, and our protagonist will have to keep his gaze. It is simple. She will ask him any question, and he just has to answer. And if he avoids her gaze, he is out. Although it is embarrassing, there are not many people in the station, so they will start right away. The protagonist gets into serious mode. It is the first time she has seen him with that face. It seems that he is giving his best effort, giving everything he has to be able to advance. He imagines he could not stand it in a suit and with his hair slicked back. He is excited just thinking about it. and June asks him if he is not going to ask him a question. He was thinking for a moment. He asks her what her last kiss was. What kind of question is that? She tells him that those questions can become important in interviews. The protagonist tells her that this rather seems like a game. It is quite boring. He is disqualified, then he will report the company to the Ministry of Employment. At the end of the interview, Shoujo gives him something important. This serious lucky charm is the pick of her electric guitar. If he carries it with him, he will not make any mistakes since it contains the energy that she puts into her practice. If he carries it with him, he will do well in the interview. The main character thanks her. He becomes happy. On the other hand, in Hyunjae's music studio, he receives a message. When checking, he realizes that it was from Long Afternoon. First, he will do an interview before starting with the collaboration. The next day, Shernai arrives at the building where she will meet Hyunjae. He seems surprised and greets her, introducing himself as the singer. It must have been difficult to find the way. He answers that using Google Maps, she arrived instantly. Hyunjae asks why she came alone. He thought she would come with her band. She answers that the other members only help her with the recording or arrangements. In a few words, she is an individual singer. Her friends have individual activities in other places. Hyunjae understands. He wants her to follow him so that both of them can talk comfortably. She asks him his name. He presents himself as Shernai. He can call her whatever he wants. Since the meeting room is under renovation, they will talk in his studio. She asks him if this building belongs to him. Hyunjae answers that he didn't just rent a few offices, but maybe later he'll buy the whole building when he releases his next music albums. She is surprised, but only a little. Shernai's reaction is very normal. She thought that he would be more interested. Or maybe it's because she doesn't trust that he will release his next albums and buy this building. It won't be easy for him to start. But simply, Shernai was tired. That's why she behaved this way. They arrive at the studio, and he asks if she wants something to drink. She answers that she wants to talk about the collaboration project. She wants to get to the point. First, she must review the contract. She begins to read the contract and tells him that she has a concern about the collaboration. She will have to perform live or participate in promotional activities with her face uncovered. He answers that not necessarily. She can continue working as an anonymous artist. Yes, she wants, but there is something that she has to make clear to him. The reason why she wants to do this collaboration is not just to have commercial success. She wants people to know Shernai's talent. Having said this, she will listen to the demo that Hyunjae prepared.
He agrees with what she said.
Will it be some tactic for the deal, or was it really considerate of her? It is then that Hyunjae shows her the demo. Shernai listens to the melody of the music and doesn't like it. She asks him to stop. It's supposed that she will be the vocalist, isn't it? She answers yes, and that's why Shernai doesn't like it. It's supposed that in the collaboration, the style of music must be a combination between both. She asks him to move. She will tie her hair and delete some tracks. Hyunjae says that she just silences her. It's not necessary to delete them. Shernai doesn't care and ends up doing it. Hyunjae spends time compiling the tracks, almost 3 nights in a row. Her music lacked depth. People not only enjoy her music, but they also like her style. She can't compromise her essence. It's a combination of chunies and rock. She doesn't leave aside her style of music. Shernai is an interesting artist. A good song will come out of this. Shernai asks him if he wants to have some beer. He says yes. Tonight, she will fix the music. On the other hand, let's go to the main character studying. The homework was getting complicated. He will take a break, stretch a little, and think about the preparations for his next exam. But besides that, he wants to see Shernai. His phone suddenly rings. He takes it out and notices that a certain notification came to him from another side. Shernai starts practicing her verse. Someone calls her name. It's the protagonist. He wants to have a musical meeting with her. A new release of Long Afternoon will come out soon. What does he mean by musical meeting? Basically, both of them will share their opinions about music as if they were both watching a movie. It's the first time he hears that in high school. Once, he did something like that with a friend. They listened to both the singer's and the commentator's opinion. He wants both of them to get together to appreciate the music. On April 28th, that day, he would listen to the music at home. He will drink a few drinks to have fun. She asks him if he was hoping more than anything to drink with her, to which he answers that it's not that. He just wants to listen to the music with her, although he certainly did want to spend time with her. Shernai becomes happy. Then he checks his calendar. On April 28th, he has the recording session scheduled for the collaboration. It seems that it will be difficult. He will be busy in his studio in the afternoon that same day. In that case, there is no problem. She will see if she can rearrange her schedule. If she has time, the protagonist says don't worry. It was just an impulsive proposal. There is no reason to force herself. But even if he says that, the protagonist's expression is pitiful, like a puppy. It is a little complicated to postpone the schedule. Later, maybe another time they will have a drink. They will simply drink like good friends after he finishes his exams. They both had a few drinks. The protagonist agrees. A few days later, the exams end and the protagonist finishes. He has to hand in his homework next week. His friends would have a party. This afternoon, they ask the protagonist if he wants to attend. He answers that he will be busy this afternoon. Also, today is the release of Long Afternoon's new music. Whether Shernai attends or not, he will listen to the music to enjoy it. The song comes out at 4 in the afternoon, but once he finishes his work, he will listen to it at home quietly. He starts to work. He finishes work, goes home, enters his room, and sits down. But he is hungry. He must have dinner first. He will order fried chicken through delivery, and while the chicken is on the way, he takes a bath. He starts to think about Shernai, and somehow he feels alone. Someone rings the bell. Surely it is the chicken. He leaves the bathroom and opens the door. That person was Shernai. He asks her what she is doing here. She sees his crotch and tells him that she came here for the musical meeting. The main character thought that she would not come. She answers that she did everything possible to come early and not arrive too late. The main character tells her to come in. But before that, she asks him why he is wearing only underwear. The main character notices and asks her to wait a moment. He puts on his pants. She came directly to his house without warning. Shernai wants to borrow clothes like last time, but before drinking, she wants to shower first. The protagonist agrees. She takes a bath. Meanwhile, the protagonist cleans the table. He did not think that Shernai would remember the address of his house. That means that from now on, Shernai can visit him at any time. He must keep his room clean daily, just in case. Shernai asks the main character for a towel. He will bring it to her immediately. He looks for a towel and gives it to her. He got a little nervous. He needs to stay calm. He should just think about other things and reach the point of enlightenment. Shernai leaves the bathroom. The main character tells her that the clothes he is wearing are not the same as the ones she is wearing. The dress was too big for her. It can fall at any moment. Did our protagonist like her in this type of clothing? The protagonist plays along and tells her that he didn't have another piece of clothing to give her. In the end, he does end up giving her another piece of clothing. Shernai's dress hangs quite wide. He asks her how she managed to finish her work today. For that, we will have to go back a few minutes. She was singing when she finished. The producer tells her that this chorus was enough. He will finish this verse and record the mix separately. He just finished checking how this boy named Ham Kin Hun turned out. He is the drummer of Long Afternoon. He mentions that it is the first time he sees Shernai so hurried. This boy named Jiwang is the bassist of the band and mentions that Shernai knows what she does. She will do it perfectly. She finishes composing her part. It was already done. Hyun Jae congratulates her. They would have a party after this, but Shernai can't attend. She has something important to do. They can have the party without her and leave the studio. Surely, Shernai got a boyfriend, is what they think. That was all that happened after they finished. The recording had some time left. It's interesting. Now it's time to listen to the new song. She brought whiskey that her uncle just gave her. They both drink the whiskey. Little by little, they get drunk. It's time to listen to the music. This is called Blue Lotus. They put on the headphones and play the music. They start listening to this song. She had already heard it dozens and hundreds of times while recording and mixing. It can be boring, but listening to it in silence makes her think about the thoughts she had while creating the song, the tracks she wanted to arrange, the instruments she wanted to use. That will also remain the lyrics. Countless fragments that came from her heart made her continue alive in this song. The mere fact of knowing that someone in this vast world listens to her music makes her heart fill with emotion. She wonders what kind of reaction he will make. He springs up, possibly he likes it, or maybe he doesn't understand it. Anything is fine, but it would be good if he liked it. She sees him and notices he is crying. She, somewhat confused, moves him to bring him back to his senses. She asks him what he was thinking. He answers that the song is good. The lyrics immersed him in his thoughts. It was so personal that it made him cry. He asks Shernai what she thought of this one. She answers that she liked the acoustic guitar, but being more specific, it would be the melody. At first, Shernai was embarrassed to talk about her own music with another person, but now she wants to get drunk with the protagonist, as if there were no tomorrow. She wants to talk and play. Her heart is about to explode. The main character doesn't know what to do. It could be the effects of the alcohol, or maybe because of the music, but for some strange reason, he wants to hug Shernai. Maybe these are his true feelings, or who knows. He doesn't have it quite clear. Shernai can talk about music, and they laugh at some anecdotes and talk about Shernai's uncle's musical band since she was little. Her uncle taught her music. Back then, she listened to modern music. At first, she didn't understand much, but the more she listened, the more she liked it and was surprised. The voices of those singers were incredible, and that's why she wanted to make music, so that her voice could be heard hundreds of years from now, and that one day the aliens would hear it. She knows that one day the aliens will invade planet Earth. This seemed funny to the main character, but changing the subject, he asks Shernai if she has any songs of her own since he would like to listen to her music. She is also a little nervous. She tells him that she doesn't have any yet. She hasn't managed to write a song that he really likes. That's a shame. Surely, her songs would be great. Instead, she can prepare a special cocktail for him. The main character can't drink any more alcohol. He feels that he has lived a lot tonight. The new song was great, and the talk was also fun. Shernai asks him if he is sleepy. He answers that he is a little tired from having stayed up studying. That afternoon, then he lies down on her legs. He answers that he only lay down for a while to write in his star diary. Every time he writes a note of his daily mood, a new star appears in the sky. Shernai asks him what he will write today. He is a little nervous. He tells her that he will write that Shernai's thighs are as soft as a pillow and that he will also hug her as if she were a pillow while she sleeps. Then she will also do the same. Shernai asks him if he is serious, or is it just a joke? The main character asks her if she is afraid that he is serious. She answers that fear is not. It's just that the protagonist is drunk. It would be better if both of them went to sleep. The protagonist tells her that he is not drunk. He really wants to hug her while she sleeps. He asks Shernai if she would give him permission to do it. She asks him if he has the courage to hug her. He can try if he wants. She will not stop him. At that moment, the protagonist leans against her, and both fall on the floor. Shernai gets a little nervous. The protagonist had been holding back for a long time to do this. He did not want to treat her carelessly. She understands him and hugs him too. They will both hug each other tonight. After a moment of silence, Shernai asks him if he is asleep, and yes, the protagonist is asleep. He fell asleep while hugging her. He is surely tired from staying up late studying. She starts to get him up and throws him on his bed. She has a drink and mentions that he made her throw her heart out, but it is unfortunate that he fell asleep. After that, as they both agreed to sleep together, they hug each other while they sleep. The protagonist had a rather softening smell. She is driving her crazy. The aroma of his skin smells good, but she has not even told him that she is long afternoon. No, she has shown him everything about her. She is here hiding, cowardly spying on his reaction, and delighting in everything about him. She does not know if it is right to do something like this. Maybe the person who does not have the courage to hug the other is not the protagonist, but her, who hides her true identity. The next morning, the protagonist wakes up with a headache. He does not know how he got to his bed. The last thing he remembers from last night was when he talked to Shernai about her uncle's musical band. But honestly, he can't remember everything. But what does it matter? It is better to keep sleeping. Surely, Shernai went home. For some strange reason, he feels that love is hard. Surely, she put something inside. At that moment, Shernai wakes up. This scares him to death. The protagonist asks her if she slept well last night. The protagonist can't believe that he slept in the same bed with Shernai alone. He hopes that he did not do something crazy that night. A few minutes after they both woke up, Shernai dries his hair. Meanwhile, the protagonist is preparing ramen. He wonders to himself if he really slept with Shernai last night in the same bed. Surely they did something weird while he was drunk, is what he wonders. Lee Jun asks him what's wrong. She wants to know his schedule for today to see if he'll be busy. He answers that he's going to work today, and for the rest of the day, he'll be at home checking some homework. That's good. Then the protagonist can rest a little. Yesterday, he looked so tired. First, he'll eat the ramen before going to work. Today, he has work at 1, so why don't you stay at my house until then? I wouldn't mind if you stayed. She asks him if, maybe, he wants to spend more time with her. The protagonist answers that it's not because of that, but that it could be very tiring to go back home and then go out again. She doesn't mind. She should go back to her house and relax. Besides, she needs to change clothes, and that doesn't mean that she doesn't like the protagonist's house. It's just that his house is closer to the studio than hers. So, if it's closer, she should tell him that he can come whenever he wants. But after thinking about that, she backs down. Shernai can't come here for no reason since he doesn't have anything from her.
Shernai wants to ask her something.
Do you usually do some kind of exercise? She answers that she only works out at home on her days off. Sometimes she goes jogging in the mornings. She used to belong to an athletics club. When she knew this, she expected it. The protagonist wants to know why. He asks. She replies that she felt like Lee Jun's body was in good shape, and she knows this because she hugged him last night. She assumed that he had broad shoulders when he was wearing clothes, but when she hugged him, she could feel that his body was solid, and his arms were so strong. Lee Jun asks if he hugged her too. Don't you remember? Yesterday, he suddenly hugged her and told her that he was holding back the urge to do this. Lee Jun is stunned.
She wants to think that was a lie.
Maybe she's just joking. Shernai replies that no, what she told him is true. Don't you remember? When he hugged her, he suddenly did it quite hard, and she thought that she wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. But then the protagonist fell asleep, so he just slept next to her. He apologizes. He must have been very drunk. She replies that it's okay. She enjoyed it too. It's been a long time since she hasn't hugged someone really tight, so she learned something new, that people's bodies are tougher than you think, not to worry too much about it. It just means everything was okay, as long as she washed the dishes later on. While some old people were jogging through the park, they see our protagonist go by quickly. She's been studying a lot lately and has barely been exercising. She's probably out of shape. She's just doing this for her health and condition. It's not like she's trying to impress Shernai. But thinking about her, she does like that she's in shape. Of course, she must feel much cooler. One more lap, and then go to her house to work on her upper body with some push-ups. Meanwhile, at Shernai's work, she was drawing on her tablet. This character looked a bit like Lee Jun. Maybe she'll post it on her Instagram later. At that moment, Kyam the guitarist surprises her. Why is he acting like that? Maybe he's looking at something dirty on his tablet. She tells him that she doesn't look at that kind of thing. But besides that, he asks her what she's doing here. Kyam tells her that his other team booked this place at 3 p.m. But changing the subject, Shernai tells him that last night she got drunk with Hyunjae, and he asks if they went out after she left. They were drinking until dawn. They drank expensive things, and Hyunjae paid the bill. She asks him if he got closer to Hyunjae. Kyam answers yes. She also met each other's bands. But before going home, they had a little chat. Shuni asked him if he wanted to do a live clip of the collaboration. In other words, a live compilation movie. It's like a music video with multiple cameras. In that case, she can cover her face with the editing or the camera direction and do it live. Hyunjae wanted to try it, but before making the decision, she had to consult with Shernai first. She heard this, mentioning that it was to be expected. The thing was lures Hyunjae. Not only did she want to dedicate herself to music production, but if she could find some courage and make some music product again and again, Lee Jun would have a new expression on her face. First, she will think about it. Maybe she can do it without trying to involve her face. Later, we are with the protagonist. His muscles hurt a lot from exercising so much. He shouldn't have rushed his training. After all, even so, today was a full day. He had breakfast with Shernai, did a quick exercise, finished his homework, and also listened to Luan's new song. In the afternoon, he arrives at work and meets the other worker from the cafeteria. Lion was expecting to meet his boss, but it is strange that she is not here anymore. Did she go shopping? He goes to storage, puts on his summer uniform. It is time to change shifts. If the boss comes, she will tell him that she came first. His coworker tells him that the boss will not be able to work tonight. She called in sick an hour ago. The protagonist asks her how it happened. She tells him that she only seemed to have a bad cold. She started with chills when she got to work and then came down with a very high fever and went to the hospital. The protagonist, knowing this, thinks to call her later. It's time to work. It must have been very hard working alone. That's why she'll stay. Will it be hard if our protagonist worked alone? Her name is Shinju. She is 23 years old, works late shifts, and is a student on vacation. She will help our protagonist just for today. They can make deliveries to the clients by preparing their drinks. In the meantime, the protagonist calls his boss to find out how she was. She tells him that it's no big deal. She's just in the hospital with intravenous fluids because she was overloaded with work. It was probably because she drank too much at night while watching a drama. His boss asks him if he can do the work on his own, or if she needs him to call an assistant. Lee Jun tells her that Shinju told him that she would stay and help him this afternoon, meaning that right now he's working 2 shifts. Lee Jun had even told him that, but since he's a student on vacation who does nothing during the day, there is no problem with it. The boss will pay him overtime, and he has no problem with that anymore. But since she finished her shift, our protagonist would take care of closing the place. Meanwhile, his boss will take some tests and return home. The protagonist asks her to rest. He is glad that his boss is here. Well, Shinju asks what she said to the boss. She told him that Shinju can work until night to pay him overtime, and also to not overexert herself too much. It is a little difficult, but he hopes to work with her properly. There are many customers today in the afternoon. It will not be easy to do this. Only Shinju will be able to handle it. Luckily, Shinju is a smart person. She will not be clumsy at work. In the meantime, he will take out the trash cans and receive some orders. But before he leaves, there is something that he heard. She heard from her boss that our protagonist is in his 4th year of university. That means that he is older than her. From now on, Lee Jun can talk to her informally. Since she is 23 years old, she will take this into account while he goes outside. She leaves him in charge of the counter. She takes out the trash and mentions that Shinju is a clingy person. He only worked with her for 1 day, but now she is telling him that he can talk to her informally. He also used to wonder how long he would last with this other person, or how often they would meet up, or how often they would be able to see each other. He is just going around and around the matter, whenever he calculates the continuity of the relationship and controls the distance. But returning to the store, Shinju tells Lee Jun that they are in trouble. He doesn't understand what's happening. Someone ordered a delivery order of 15 drinks and sandwiches. He needs the protagonist's help. An order like this at this time is quite unusual. Shinju tells him that all the drinks they ordered are different, and it's driving him crazy. The protagonist will make the sandwiches. Shinju will be in charge of making the drinks. Many things have happened to our protagonist today. He doesn't understand why in moments like this it gets so complicated for him, but he's still glad that Shinju stayed. He was worried about her just for working here for 2 months, but she seems to be good at her job and is responsible. So, he can trust her. At that moment, Shinju tells the protagonist that the mixer wasn't working, and a few hours later, they finish the job.
Today was a pretty hard day.
The number of customers in the room has increased as the days get longer. Before leaving, Shinju tells the protagonist that he will be first. Lee Jun mentions that he should be careful when he returns home. There's no need to worry about her anymore, as her house is in front of the store. She hopes to see him tomorrow. The protagonist says goodnight. She leaves the store. Meanwhile, Lee Jun prepares for the closing of the store, and while doing that, he starts to think a little. He wants to know something about her. How old will she be, Shernai? He never asked her age. He is curious to know. When they get to the tracks, she tells him that she is 39 years old. That is quite old. He wants to think that it is a joke, but he doesn't know how to answer. He thinks that maybe it is a lie, right? Of course, it is a lie. Obviously, she is lying. He really thought that she was already 39 years old. Lee Jun was just surprised in case it was real. It has been a long time. Then how old is she really? Maybe it is a secret. She answers that it is not a secret because she suddenly feels curious about it. Maybe he wants to investigate to know if she is a suspect. The protagonist answers that it is not any of that, so why is she curious? She does not know her age either, but does that matter? Lee Jun, hearing this, mentions that it does not matter anymore. He just asked the wrong thing. It seems that she was a little rude when answering. She was just trying to bother him a little. But well then, she told him she's going to say, but she wants him to promise her one thing. From now on, when he calls her by her first name, it has to be next to the word Mississippi. So that's why she didn't tell him her age. Instead, she thought it would be a little more awkward. Shernai likes being called Miss. It feels like she's being treated like an adult and doesn't sound too much like a guest. Lee Jun asks her if it's some kind of role-playing game. She tells him that it's not that. She just likes it when Lee Jun calls her Miss Shernai. It's a little weird, but she likes it. So from now on, he'll call her that since it's not that difficult. Then how old is she? Maybe she's the same age as him. Shernai tells him she's 21. Our protagonist, instead, is 25. That sounds ridiculous. You're not supposed to be a professional. You have to be at least 22 when you graduate from college. How can you be that old? She tells him that she didn't go to college. She got a job when she came of age. If he doesn't believe her, she can show him her ID. Why did she ask him at the beginning if she was still going to university? That's because she got in first in the work aspect, and that's why she asked. She's still young enough to make whiskey bombs. Shernai learned it from her uncle. The next train is arriving. In any case, the protagonist just made her a promise. He will keep calling her by her name like he always has. He hopes that Uncle Lee Yoon will keep his promise. Shernai talks like an adult and seems experienced. He thought that she would be older or around his age, but it turns out that she's quite clever. The next day at the cafe, Boss Oju is complaining about how tired she feels after a day off from work. Maybe tomorrow she'll get a massage before coming to work. Lee Jun asks her why she doesn't take the day off. She replies that if she took a few days off, she would lose money. The protagonist tells her that she will probably die thinking about money. Her boss replies that she doesn't care about money. It's scarier than death. The protagonist says that's true. But by the way, he asks Lee Jun what she thinks of Shinju. She's only been working here for 2 months, and she's good at her job. The protagonist mentions that that's true. She has a cheerful personality, and she is good at serving customers and is very empathetic. But the only flaw she has is that she hasn't memorized all the recipes yet. The boss replies that she can't just whistleblower because she hired her quickly. Anyway, his boss is glad that Lee Jun is here. Without him, she wouldn't be able to rest easy. He's the only part-timer she can trust at the cafeteria. Lee Jun is embarrassed by what her boss said so suddenly, but changing the subject, she asks him if he'll be busy on his next day off. The protagonist replies that he doesn't have much to do the next day, so they should go get some meat. Lee Jun asks him, why so suddenly? His boss tells him that it's her way of thanking him. He suffered a lot yesterday because of him. If that's the case, why doesn't he thank her with cash? His boss tells him that she has already given him all his pay. The protagonist replies that the more bills, the better. His boss calls him an ungrateful bastard. She wants them both to have some drinks. Besides, she wants to eat meat. Lejun tells him that she can grill the meat at her house. The boss tells him she wants to go to a restaurant. Plus, it would be pathetic to go eat meat alone. It's so depressing being alone at home eating meat and washing dishes. It's just a pain. That's why she wants both of them to go out to eat together. She asks him if he wants to. The protagonist thinks about it. Since he has some free time, maybe he can. Then he asks her what day they can meet, but notices that his boss is looking away. He asks her what's wrong. His boss asks him to stay at the counter for a second. At one of the tables, Hyunjae was listening to the music he composed with Shernai. He mentions that this collaboration song, the version mixed by his studio engineer, is more complete, in general, but the version mixed by Shernai herself is not bad. It's a little rough, but each instrument has its own unique touch, the retro feel of a long afternoon, and its unique sense of space. He starts to think about what he should do seriously. He loves both versions, so it's hard to decide. He will have to go back to the studio and listen to both versions again on his monitors. Suddenly, he hears the sound of a photo. Someone was taking secret photos. Knowing that they were taking pictures of him in secret, he mentions that it is not the first time it has happened to him, but he is embarrassed that they do it here. It has been happening to him for a while, and it is getting worse. He prefers that people see him and ask him for a photo, or maybe they do not want to take a photo with him, but he is interested in someone's private life. Well, it does not matter. He does not want to cause problems in this cafeteria, so for the moment, he must leave. At that moment, the boss stops the boy who is taking pictures of Hyunjae. You are not supposed to film other clients. Hyunjae notices this action. The boy with the cap answers that he was not doing it. How should he know that the boy is on television and is famous? The boss tells him that whether he is famous or not, everyone who enters this cafeteria is a client. She asks him to please stop doing that. The slob says that he is also a client. How can a cafeteria worker speak to his client in that way? The boss knows that the guy with the cap has not placed his order yet. Normally, she does not say anything to people who sit down without ordering, but she can't stand to see someone who bothers other customers. So either he orders his drink, or he does her the favor of leaving. The guy with the cap, seeing himself intimidated, tells the boss that he will destroy this place online. He'll stop them on all social networks and put them out of business. The boss wishes him good luck and says goodbye. Hyunjae apologizes to the boss. She is sorry for causing her trouble. The boss replies not to worry, there is always a lot of noise in the cafe, that is part of the business. So she shouldn't worry and hopes that Hyunjae will come back again. It doesn't matter if he is famous or not. He knows that he likes the cappuccinos from this cafe. Hyunjae replies yes, he loves them. This is the best cappuccino he's ever had, and he ends up leaving after drinking it. That was very annoying. Celebrities must be very annoying. They keep getting into trouble. Leon congratulates his boss. He kept his regular customers and kicked out the annoying person. He is simply great. The boss mentions that that is not true. She shouldn't just limit herself to just watching because doing so would be a sure way to make her life miserable. She then asks him if he wants to eat meat or not. He wants to try some beef. The protagonist sighs and answers that yes. He wants them both to go out to eat. He can't wait for that day to arrive. So they will meet at 7. The next day, Lee Jun was waiting while he stared at his phone. He mentions that it's almost time for the summer internship. He hasn't visited any company yet. Maybe he'll have to wait a little longer. Now that he starts to think about it, he doesn't know why he thinks about it too much. It's not that people. He shouldn't put too much pressure on his shoulders. The job search is going according to plan unless he's tired. The latter will undoubtedly bear fruit. So in that case, first listen to Long Afternoon, this new song he loves, and it's relaxing. But there is something that he realizes when entering the platform in the list of music recommendations, Cindy, of the Spotify application. The album cover of Long Afternoon is among the best 40 or so. That's how he sees it. At that moment, the boss sees that our protagonist arrived early. But in addition to the boss, she was accompanied by Shinju. She didn't know that she would come. Her boss tells him that Shinju also worked hard that day. He should eat some meat. She greets Lee Jun. This also greets Shinju. It's time for them to have a meat party. Today's goal is to eat a whole beef. They haven't eaten in a long time, so they won't go home until they finish it. Shinju takes the protagonist's arm and tells him, Lee Jun, let's go together already. She hasn't eaten beef in a long time. The protagonist answers yes. He doesn't know why suddenly she grabbed his arm. Somehow it feels strange. Definitely, today he's going to eat beef. In another change of scene, we see Shernai composing music. He starts to spell how his next music would sound. For some reason, it doesn't sound good. Will it be the rhythm? Or is it because he's hungry? Maybe he's going to go for some meat. Now we are located in the restaurant where they sell meat. At the table of our protagonist, they were eating the meat. Boss Oja mentions that the meat tastes delicious. Definitely when one is tired, nothing is better than juicy beef. The boss tells the protagonist and Shinju to eat quickly before it runs out, but it was not necessary to say it, since without her telling them, they were already eating the meat. The boss Oju asks the waiter for one more bottle of soju for this table. Lee Jun knows that his boss recently had a hangover. Wouldn't it be a bit exaggerated to drink alcohol after that? His boss responds that everything will be fine, there is nothing to worry about. As the old saying goes, poison is fought with poison and alcohol with more alcohol. The protagonist mentions that such a saying does not exist. She should eat in moderation since she does not have anyone to take care of her, isn't it? Yes, her boss responds. That's why he called our protagonist. Lee Jun tells her that he does not plan to take care of her. Shinju, for her part, gives her half-suspicious eyes, noting that they both get along very well. He asks his boss if they both knew each other before. She responds no, simply, they have both worked together for a long time. That is why they get along so well. From time to time, they eat together in this way since our protagonist lives alone, and the boss also always calls him to go out on his days off, so that both of them have a good time. Shinju is surprised to know this. Then he asks them if they are dating, or something like that. The protagonist doesn't know what he is talking about, they just eat together. Shinju says that sounds suspicious, that a man and a woman go out to eat alone clearly. It is what a couple would do. The protagonist responds that does not mean that it is something romantic. The boss Oja mentions that it was she who flirted with our protagonist. Obviously, this is a joke, but the unfortunate protagonist played hard to get. It was very annoying. Lee Jun asks her boss not to invent things that did not happen. The boss Oju mockingly apologizes while eating the meat. Shinju stares at her and asks Lee Jun if he lives alone. It seems that he does not have a partner, right? Or maybe he does. The protagonist responds that he lives alone, but does not have a partner either. But if he likes a person, it's not what his boss asks. Shinju is curious and asks the protagonist who it is. Is it someone she knows? Maybe it is Chuyeon, the one who works the morning shift. The protagonist does not even know the people who work the morning shift at the cafeteria. The person her boss mentions is just someone she runs into often. They haven't even exchanged numbers. So you could say it's not romantic, but when you think about it a little, even if you were to ask her what kind of relationship they have, you could say it's someone she wants to keep talking to. Shinju looks at him and sees that the protagonist's glass is empty. He asks him if he wants another round.
Lee Jun answers yes.
Boss Lee Jun tells them that her glass is empty too. She calls them bastards for leaving her out. She asks him to serve her quickly. Today they'll drink themselves to death. They'll go all the way. Shinju likes the idea. The protagonist doesn't want to drink himself to death. Meanwhile, at Shinhei's music studio, she was lying on the floor playing some music. She mentions that this isn't the music she's expecting. The progress of the song is too obvious. She wonders if she should change the structure of the pre-chorus. At that moment, her uncle enters the studio. He asks Shernai what she wants for dinner today. Seeing that she is on the floor, he asks her what she's doing in the rehearsal room. Maybe she's practicing her performance, or maybe she's Jimi Hendrix. Shernai replies that she's not doing any of that. That's what she means by performance. She was just lying down because her compositions weren't coming out. Her uncle mentions that it's weird. It's been a while since she had a song block. Normally, she writes them without problems. Shernai tells him that sometimes it happens. You can't always do everything the way you always do. And this time, she doesn't know why, but she wanted to try to write the song more seriously. That's why it's taking her a little longer. So, her uncle asks Shernai if she would like to go out to eat, so she can clear her head a bit. She asks her, what about the music studio? Her uncle mentions that the guys who are practicing are her friends. So if she tells them she's going out to eat, he's pretty sure they'll take care of everything. It would be better if they go out to eat right away so she can also meet some people. Who knows? Maybe she'll come up with an idea for the song. That's when Shernai accepts. The menu will choose. They'll see along the way. Shernai agrees. Meanwhile, in another part, boss Oja mentions that she feels lonely. Lee Jun asks her what's wrong. She herself said she wanted to eat beef, and now she's complaining. Boss Oja replies that her reason for being like that is because she feels lonely. When she returns home, she will be alone again. Sometimes she thinks that maybe she shouldn't have gotten divorced. Lee Jun gets upset hearing this phrase again. They had already promised not to have those kinds of regrets. Her boss apologizes for that, but now that she thinks about it, how about they go to a whiskey bar for the second round? She will treat them herself. Lee Jun mentions that tomorrow she has classes, so today ends here. Shinju responds that she also ate too much. The boss calls them boring. She was going to treat them to drink the expensive liquor, but what if it's okay? She will go alone. Lee Jun asks her if she is sure about going to drink alone. Her boss responds that it'll be fine. She is friends with the bar owner. Then she hopes that both of them take care of each other when they return home. Lee Jun is worried that his boss will faint again if she doesn't feel well. Maybe he should go for her. Shinju looks at him with half-suspicious eyes. She takes the protagonist by the arm. She asks him where he wants to go. There is a draft beer bar that I usually go to near here. He asks Jun if he wants to have a drink there, but according to Shinju herself, she said that it was already full. Shinju answers that was because if our protagonist didn't go, she wouldn't want to go either. She wanted to talk a little more with the protagonist, so without pressure, she asks him to have just one drink and then they will go home. The protagonist doesn't know. The truth is that he is a little tired. Shinju notices that it is a bit strange. She asks him if he is thinking about that person with whom he says he has something. In the end, it is just a something. It is not even a confession or an official relationship. If our protagonist gets too serious, he will only hurt himself. That person, with whom he says he has something, could be just playing. It is not like that. Jung doesn't like her way of thinking, even if it is like she herself says. If that person is just playing with him, he wants to be serious. When he likes someone, he prefers to be direct, although in the end, it breaks his heart. Although it ends broken and crying, he just prefers to be direct, and that is when he decides to drink with Shinju. Only when there are work meetings, he apologizes for not accepting her request. She somehow gets happy, telling the protagonist that he really is a good boy, he should not feel bad. She just wanted to be her real friend with the protagonist. Another time they will drink together when the boss is there. The protagonist understands, but why does she keep holding his arm? She answers that it is just a custom. She even does it with the boss. Lee Jun responds that this makes him a little uncomfortable. Shinju tells her that it is just a little affection. It seems that she is already completely drunk. That is why some people say that taking care of drunks is more complicated. While the protagonist was walking, he crosses glances with Shernai, who is also crossing the road with her uncle. The problem is that the protagonist does not know Shernai's uncle in person, so he does not know who that person next to her is, and Shernai does not know who the person next to the protagonist is. This is becoming a misunderstanding. She crosses the track, leaving the protagonist with doubts. He never thought that he would cross paths with Shernai on the streets, but more importantly, who is that person who is holding her shoulder? Shernai, for her part, wonders who is the person who is holding the protagonist's arm. She wonders if it was his girlfriend. Lee Jun, for her part, wonders if that guy was her boyfriend. But before knowing how this happened, we have to see a flashback. Before they passed through the streets, Shernai told her uncle that according to the map on her phone, there is a good restaurant nearby. Her uncle tells her no. He looks at his phone while walking since it is dangerous. It is then that Shernai asked him to grab her while she was guiding him. Her uncle calls her Tana. Meanwhile, the boss was having a few drinks at the bar. She mentions that when they behave formally with her, they make her feel old. But well, each one in their own way. After the meeting of both, we see a purple wave. Lee Jun was drowning in this purple sea. For some strange reason, he screams at the top of his lungs asking for someone to help him since he did not know how to swim. But nobody hears his pleas for help, and he ends up taking him alone to the sea. But it was just the milkshake that the protagonist was preparing. He kept turning the straw around and around. He found himself deep in his thoughts, taking so long. He spun the straw, and his boss scolded him for being distracted. She asked him to make 2 markers for customer number 13. Lion answers that it's not ready yet. The boss asks him what the hell he's doing. Did he become a drink sharpener? Why is he taking so long? The protagonist apologizes. He'll do it right away. The boss says that it doesn't matter anymore. She'll do it herself. In the meantime, let's take out the trash and get some fresh air. If he still acts like that when he gets back, she'll punch him in the gut. The protagonist apologizes and gets it made. He leaves the store and takes out the 2 bags of garbage. He has been very thoughtful all day. He was supposed to write an autobiography, but he couldn't write a single line. But then Shernai. And that guy. If they were hugging so sweetly, maybe they both must have a close relationship. For some reason, thinking about this bothered him. It bothered him. He doesn't know what the hell is going on with this situation. She herself told him she wasn't dating anyone. Was he the only one who was serious? Was she pretending not to be dating anyone this whole time? But then, the time they spent together meant nothing to her. Kicking the trash just out of anger, thinking that Shernai was just playing with him like that bothered him. But then he comes to his senses and cleans up the trash, thinking that that guy is her boyfriend has him upset. His heart can't stand thinking about it, even though he said it was okay if they just saw and talked to each other. But now he just wants to be the only one for her. On the other hand, in Hyunjae's music studio, Shernai was listening to the song that she and Hyunjae composed. But she was somewhat thoughtful. Hyunjae suggested mixing the music again. Their engineer stayed up all night to do it based on Shernai's mix. With a muffled tone, she replied that it was fine. Hyunjae told her that she had another one that she made as a test. Would she like to hear it? He tried to make the afternoon part stand out more. Shernai answers, "Do what you want." "No, I need to tell you what to do." Hyunjae, somewhat thoughtful and distracted, asked Shernai for a moment of her attention. "You can't act like this. No matter how you feel, you're supposed to do your job properly. I don't know if this is just a hobby for you, but this song is a team effort, long sessions of dawn with the band, the engineers, and the band that coordinates the project. And if we do it halfway, what will happen if all this work is ruined? So I need you to be serious until the end, because the burden of failure will be on my shoulders." Shernai takes these words seriously and apologizes to Hyunjae. She was being a little cold. Hyunjae is glad that at least she was sincere. Of course, that's the kind of thing he would say as a producer. But this time he wants to ask her something personally. Has something bad happened to you? Have you been looking down all day? Shernai, with a distant tone, answers that it's nothing, but remembering the protagonist next to that short-haired girl makes her very thoughtful and annoys her just thinking about it. She gets up and fluffs her hair, simply saying, "It's so annoying. I don't really know." Hyunjae, a little confused, asks, "What do you mean, people?" For some reason, people act cool in front of you. They act like a puppy about to go for a walk, but behind the scenes, they act completely different. I trust that person wouldn't deceive you. She herself knows that she's not qualified to say that, but she can't help it. She's aware of it, but it's still annoying. Hyunjae replies that he doesn't know what's going on, but when you get to know someone, no matter who you know, don't mess with them too much. Because the minds of others that we see are like the bottom of a river. I mean, we don't know how they really think, and even if you think you know the depth, you can't really know. And if you jump in thinking it's deep and it's shallower than you thought, you'll be the only one who gets hurt. So a little proper faith and fewer expectations. Too many expectations will only distort the other person. Shernai knows she's right. No matter how long she waits, others won't behave the way she wants, and that scares her. That's why she hides behind walking her internet cartoon. But the protagonist has been going out with her all the time. Or maybe he was just looking for a superficial relationship. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't think that way. But somehow, it's annoying to think that it's just something superficial. She's very angry. She wants to let out all the words that she has accumulated inside her mouth. She can't wait to see her stupid face again. Now we are located at the train tracks. Lee Jun arrives at the train station. He meets Shernai standing where she is, waiting for the train. It's different from usual. She's not sitting on the bench like usual. It seems like it's over. It's okay not to talk about it. Maybe it's because she has a boyfriend, but since it doesn't matter. Besides, he doesn't want to be a bother. Now, they will never see each other again, but unconsciously, he approached her of his own free will. He has to talk to Shernai. She asks him what he wants to talk about. Lee Jun tells her that he knows that she has a boyfriend. Shernai responds that he had already told her that she doesn't have a boyfriend. The protagonist tells him that he saw her with a man the other day. Maybe he wasn't her boyfriend. She begins to remember and responds that maybe that person was her uncle. The protagonist doesn't believe her. How can that be possible? How can she have such a young uncle? Are you sure you're not telling an obvious lie? Do you think I'm stupid? Shernai also interrogates him, since he saw her with his girlfriend. He saw him walking arm in arm with a girl last time. The protagonist starts to remember and mentions that that girl is his part-time coworker. Shernai doesn't believe him. It seems like you walk arm in arm with every girl you know. Isn't that true? Are you a Rolling Stone vocalist? Lee Jun answers that his coworker did it on her own. She took his arm. But then what about the date he had with that girl? Lee Jun answers that it wasn't a date. It was just a work party. But who goes to a work party alone with a girl? It seems more like a date. Lee Jun answers that they were in a group of 3 people and one of them was his boss, but she ended up leaving. Only his coworker and he were left. And they start arguing and saying a lot. Blah blah blah. That's enough. We have to stop talking. If you don't believe me, what does it matter? It wouldn't have made any sense to continue talking about it. It will only be a waste of time. To continue talking, then that's what Shin-jae thinks. This is just a waste of time. The next train is arriving. Shernai replies that that wasn't what she meant. She doesn't think talking to him is a waste of time. If so, then she wants him to predict a night just with him, meaning they spend it together, just the two of them. He will prove to her that he is someone she can trust, meaning he will show her his true self. She is a bit confused. She doesn't understand what he means by showing his true self. On the other hand, Lee Jun is buying some nuggets. He doesn't know which one to choose. Maybe it will be 2 cans of beer, or maybe 4. Maybe he should stick to bottled beer. He doesn't know which choice to make. He wants to drink alcohol while watching Kim Jong-soo's new romance drama. He goes blank just thinking about it, then he will choose just 1 can. He starts to think and refuses to drink. He already drank yesterday. He should leave it for today. Hangovers seem to last longer these days, and he feels like his stomach is coming out. It's sad to keep getting older. Even if you have money, you can't spend it on what you want. Someone suddenly calls the boss.
Leon.
Next to Shernai, he greets her, boss, raising her hand. Both were agitated. She asks her what she is doing here. Did she miss the last train and come back? The protagonist answers that he did not come here because he needs to check something. First, he introduces his boss to Shernai. She tells him that she is the owner of the cafe, where she works part-time. Shernai, somewhat shy, greets her. She is delighted to meet her. Shernai is completely different from what the boss thought. This is the girl that our protagonist often runs into on the train. She does not have the style that he expected, but she is pretty. She is pretty sure that our protagonist is attracted to her. Lee Jun begins to touch on the subject of the dinner at No's that they had with their boss and Shinju. The boss confirms that they did. That night, the 3 of them had dinner. They invited them both to eat meat. Lee Jun wants to ask them about Shinju from that night. She wants her boss to confirm that he and she are just work colleagues who went out to eat last night. The boss Oju understands what the question is about. Now she understands why she is here. She answers yes, both are just co-workers. That was the only time they have talked. They see each other almost every day, but they only talk for about 10 minutes when they change shifts since one works at night and the other during the day. Now Shernai understands with just a few words. Boss Oju tells Shernai that Shinju and the protagonist do not have a relationship. She wants him to keep that in mind. But when they saw them, they were both holding arms. The boss understands what he means. She has a very kind personality, so she is very clingy even when she is alone with her. She always tries to wrap her arms around her. Even when she went with the protagonist to his house, she kept crossing her arm and told him not to do it. Apparently, she has this kind of habit. She must have grown up in a family with a lot of love. She just hopes that Shernai believes what she told him was as sincere as possible. She looks him straight in the eyes and tells the protagonist that she will believe his words. Lee Jun feels relieved. It seems that this got a bit tense. She asks them both if they want a ride. The bus and the subway are closed at this time of night, so there's no way for both of them to get home. She pretends to drive herself and will take them to Lee Jun. That seems great to her, but Shernai can't, since she will go with the protagonist to another place. He and she have to go together. This time, it's her turn to show her the truth. The protagonist more or less understands it. Shernai apologizes to boss Oju for wasting her time. The boss has no problem with it. Shernai asks Lee Jun to accompany her, and the protagonist accepts. They both say goodbye to the boss. It seems that everything was solved. But now that he thinks about it, just drinking a can of beer for today, he can't miss such a comforting feeling. On the other hand, someone was playing a game of dragons and knights, but ended up losing. Shernai's uncle didn't understand why this game was so difficult. What was he supposed to do to beat this challenging game, especially with a character as a partner who is supposed to be the strongest in the game, but she can't even use her powers? In the end, she can't do it. Suddenly, someone rings the bell. It's very strange that someone would knock at this time of night. She goes out to see who it is and realizes it's Shernai. She asks the guy next to her, who is it and why are they both here? Shernai wants to ask her uncle something. She wants him to confirm that she is his niece. The uncle doesn't understand what the question is about. It turns out that the person next to her thinks that her uncle is her boyfriend. This is quite sudden. What could have happened to cause such a misunderstanding? This embarrassment might be because he has been with her for a while. Shernai tells him that he is much older than her to be her boyfriend. The uncle replies that he is not that old. Shernai didn't say that he was old, but older. But it's still the same. They both start arguing. Leon remembers the situation that day. It seems that both uncle and niece get along well. Now he understands that Shin told the truth. That relieves and warms him. It's a little because he misunderstood things. By the way, the uncle asks her, who is our prod exactly? Why did he make such a stupid mistake? Maybe Shernai is his girlfriend? Yoon answers that it's not like that, but he was wondering why. Shernai scolds her uncle for saying that kind of nonsense, asking him to go back inside and get some sleep. This conversation ended here. The uncle understands, but how is he supposed to get back home? The roads are all closed already. Shernai answers that they'll think of something. Maybe they'll take a taxi or walk. But at this time of night, the taxi is going to charge extra, and it's not like they can actually walk home. The uncle thinks about it and asks them both to wait here for a moment. He will take them in a car. Shernai knows that her uncle doesn't have a car. The uncle was thinking of borrowing a car, but who would lend their car at this time? He knows some people from this neighborhood. So he will go borrow a car, and they will get off when he calls them. Shernai wants to stop him, but her uncle is in a hurry since he wants to rest. Shernai apologizes for how stubborn her uncle is. Lian is just grateful that his uncle is helping them. The protagonist doesn't know what to say. When he thinks about it, he feels like it was his fault. He shouldn't have dragged Shernai here. He has been running with her, causing her trouble. He's not even Shernai's boyfriend. He feels pathetic. Shernai calls him, telling him that the air tonight is a little cold. He confirms that it is since it's still spring. Then it's time to make up. They'll talk about something interesting again, as always. He wants to be in a warm room next to Leyoon to talk about fun things. Her uncle looks so much like Eren Yeager that from now on, I'm just gonna call him that. It feels way cooler than his real name. Alright, that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop a comment if you made it this far. I want to hear your thoughts. See you in the next one.